At least once in their lifetime, every football fan experiences a phenomenon that's one of the most nerve-wracking the sport has to offer. Your season's on the line. And whether it's because of devastating injury or general ineptitude, you find all your betting chips placed on your backup quarterback. In some cases, long backup quarterback. In others, 44-year-old Philip Rivers. Yes, this is a thing. Hey, it's inevitable. A few years back, the NFL founded a big enough fear that they now allow teams to dress 3 quarterbacks on game day. Do you remember what happened to San Francisco in the NFC Championship game against the Eagles? They not only lost Brock Purdy, but the legendary backup Josh Johnson. The Niners were down to a goddamn running back under center, which emphasizes the constant attrition. Welcome to the NFL's Eternal Groundhog Day, where mediocrity gets a participation trophy, and quarterbacks who couldn't hit water from a boat keep washing up on rosters like novelty Garfield phones. We're talking active QBs on 53-man rosters or practice squads. Because nothing says talent crisis like paying a guy $2 million to white-knuckle a clipboard and say solemn prayers that the starter's ACL doesn't turn into JFK's head. Charlie Whitehurst made a living off that. Today we're performing an autopsy on the undead. The cockroaches of the league that refuse to have their careers go 6 feet under. We'll break this into 3 unholy categories. Sure, there have been exceptions to the rule. Brock Purdy's the ultimate third-string QB story. Kurt Warner went from a grocery bagger to a league MVP. And the occasional folk hero like Duck Hodges or Tommy Cutlets keep things interesting. For a few weeks. For the rest, let's just say the meat's rotting off the bone.
Scott Pilgrim?
Hi, I was thinking about asking you out, but then I realized how stupid that would be. So do you want to go out sometime?
Because bros come before completed throws. First up, the QBs who get resuscitated not for talent, but because some coach reminisces about their glory days. Someone who, if everything goes horribly wrong, at least he knows their offense and can hold a football. You hope. Exhibit A, Marcus Mariota. Current Washington backup to the injured Jaden Daniels. And a future hardbar trivia question. Marcus got his start in Tennessee as a highly touted prospect, but was eventually cast off after a long struggle to find form. Ironically replaced in favor of another guy who had untapped upside, Ryan Tannehill. But unlike Ryan, Marcus never really got that blip of glory. A year in Atlanta where he was meh was all he had to his name. Now Dan Quinn drags him back like a bad tattoo, saying he's our guy for stability. Stability? Mariota's career stats are rather middling. And with his notorious injury history, it's about as stable as Libya. Andy Dalton was once seen as a franchise quarterback in Cincinnati, but with the opportunity to draft Cool Joe Burrow, the Red Rifle was promptly cast off, and both he and the fading star wideout AJ Green were forced to look for work elsewhere. Each stop Andy's made in his retirement gauntlet has gotten progressively more pathetic. First dying after Dak's leg was sacrificed to Jerry Boy in 2020. Then with the Bears when they weren't busy letting Justin Fields die back there.
So as you thought, Andy Dalton will continue to be out there. Again, the Bears fans are a little restless, but...
And it all culminated in a 3-10 overall record in Carolina these past few years. The only thing that keeps him on payroll is that he's an experienced backup for Bryce Young. Although with that game against Buffalo, that foundation's over the San Andreas fault. He's under contract for one more year, but it's hard to imagine that there won't be a cheaper, more talented backup QB available this offseason. Maybe even one whose arm hasn't devolved into a BB gun. Rounding out the reunion tour category, Geno Smith was hailed as the man who'd stop the silver and black bleeding. Now, same script, different city. This man single-handedly changing the game of football every week. From supposed stability to showing off new and inventive ways to suck. Featuring a level of play that would certainly get him benched if anyone other than Kenny Kitten Mittens were his backup. Pete Carroll's crush proves the NFL's a small world. Too small for fresh ideas, apparently. It's easy to forget apart from his Seahawks stint where he suddenly went back to Mountaineer for and Geno Smith was seen as a joke. Statistically, out of the current top 32 starting QBRs in the league, Geno's second to last. Only ahead of a Cam Ward with nobody to throw to rotting in real time. As he says, if your car breaks down going to work, blame it on him. Same as being more focused with his phone during pre-draft meetings than talking to team scouts than leaving the draft after not getting picked on night 1. Our jaws would then be broken with this terrible play. So would his after a fight in the locker room with a 260-pound defensive lineman.
All right, back live here inside training camp, live on the field with some breaking news out of Florham Park, New Jersey in Jets training camp. Geno Smith is out 6 to 10 weeks with a broken jaw. That as a result, as Todd Bowles has just said, of a sucker punch from one of his teammates.
Don't worry, the Jets got the defender as punishment. Then in Seattle, speeding at 96 miles per hour, weaving in and out of traffic, getting pulled over on suspicion of DUI, and then threatening to treat the police officers like that fracas in the locker room years ago. This was a year after Henry Ruggs, and mere weeks ago he flipped off his own fans at home after putting up another abysmal performance by eating Las Vegas turf 10 goddamn times. I know this is supposed to be an autopsy of the undead players, but in this case I'd just go the Zombieland route.
What? You are not the guy. You're not capable of being the guy. I had a guy, but now I don't. You are not the guy.
Then what the hell am I doing here?
I don't know.
The Bridge Trolls. These QBs get signed as a stopgap in case the starter has permanent residence in the blue tent and the third stringer still learning the goddamn alphabet. They're usually active, holding the fort till the coach sends in the undercooked rookie to try and save his job. Look no further than Tyrod Taylor, now the Jets starter after Justin Fields got benched for literally doing exactly what he's done. What'd you expect? Tyrod was a giant for a hot minute, spelling the usually injured Denny Derps. He didn't have to go that far in 2024, landing as Aaron Rodgers' caddy. Tyrod sticks around because he's apparently the human version of a career incubator. And he also has a ring from his time in Baltimore. Yes, he's been around that long. In Buffalo, he was under center for the last of the Rex Ryan era. And when the new regime took over, Tyrod was dealt to Cleveland due to choosing Josh Allen in the draft. As a Brown, he played admirably for a week or so, until an injury sidelined him in favor of the debut of one Baker Mayfield. He was promptly signed to the Chargers the following year. His curse would continue where he was accidentally stabbed in the fucking lung when a team doctor was administering painkillers right before the game. This sidelined him in favor of one Justin Herbert. He never got that job back either. Statistically, Tyrod has a middling 45-54 record to his name, but he does serve a purpose for NFL teams. Most of the quarterbacks he gave way to are mobile signal callers, something that Tyrod utilized while most teams were scared shitless of the RG3 saga that took place. And even as he gets older and slower, he works with schematics created for guys that actively use their legs, providing a break in case of emergency QB with the same style of play as the starter. Considering he predictably got hurt again, he's not gonna lose his job to Brady Cook, right? That would just be cruel.
I think I might just put a knife in it.
I think that's a really good idea.
See if it works. Oh yes, it goes in beautifully.
And don't sleep on Josh Dobbs, current Patriots clipboard warrior after stints with the Niners, Vikings, and Cardinals. And Titans, and Lions, and Browns, and Jaguars, and Steelers. And an internship with NASA. He was the feel-good pastronaut on a Cinderella run in Arizona and Minnesota in 23. Until the wheel sadly fell off after a few weeks in favor of the legendary fucking Chuck Nick Mullins. Now he's pure injury filler. In total of the 15 games Dobby has started, he's only won 3 of them, and at the same time put up a league-leading 20 fumbles. Active on the roster, but temporary like a snow cone in hell. In conclusion, this group of guys will work in a pinch, but if they're your full-time starter, you've got serious problems.
You gotta pay the troll toll if you want to get into that boy's hole.
Before we examine our last undead player, a few honorable mentions. Nathan Peterman. Peter Meme would be an obvious inclusion, but sadly he isn't on an NFL roster, and therefore isn't eligible for today's autopsy. I sincerely hope this isn't the last we heard of him. The UFL's a-callin'. John Reese Plumlee. A forever favorite of mine, if not just because it's fun to say. John's the definition of a gadget player. Signed to Pittsburgh undrafted, he was brought into camp as a quarterback, but the Steelers convinced him to switch to receiver. The dude was returning kicks in Latrobe for crying out loud. He spent time with the Jags, Seahawks, and most recently Pittsburgh, apparently bringing Plumlee back in order to play the role of Caleb Williams on scout team leading up to playing Chicago. Literally what they convinced him to switch out of. Tim Boyle. If you don't believe DEI doesn't exist in the NFL, you don't know Tim Boyle. A man who, despite college stats that get most men laughed out of the combine, carrying a clipboard for Aaron Rodgers for a few years, and me thinking he was a punter at the start, bounced around the league for 5 years. Why has he survived and still gets playing time? Does he make a mean brisket? Certainly isn't his play on the field. He's currently a free agent, but is he truly gone? Or will he survive to throw garbage forevermore? And finally, Trey Lance. Too small a sample size. Although every time he's been out there...
Pressure comes, Lance feels it. Oh, what a play! Tremont Morris brash
rush is gonna go.
What's up, cockroach? You good? We just killed one. Oh, they main. No, she having a baby. This cockroach having a baby. The cockroach having a baby for real. You see it? Look. Oh, they mating. It's one of them. This is Mother Nature at its best. I feel like the crocodile hunter with roaches. You know what I'm saying? But this, we just pee right here.
Last and certainly least, the cockroaches of the pocket. Rumor has it these subjects exist packed away from the sun, quietly collecting paychecks hoping that no one notices they're even still around. All currently active in 25, all unkillable. Prime specimen?
Broncos country. Less diarrhea poop.
If you were surprised Pittsburgh didn't bring him back after last year, you weren't paying attention. Might have had something to do with Mr. Unlimited turning back into 2022 Broncos form in the second half of the year. Joining your third team in 3 years is a telltale sign your stock is plummeting. Russ was more than serviceable in the past, but what he had is all but gone. Near completely. The moon ball, his staple trick to make people think he still has it, turning into a duck. A deep ball grade last in PFF rating. Regardless of the ineptitude Russ has shown, he seems to repeatedly weasel himself into situations where he's not only on track to start games, but still getting handsomely compensated for it. Most of that has to do with Denver, to be fair. He was benched 2 separate times for 2 separate QBs in just the first 10 weeks of the 2025 season. His coach was so worried about him being in the game that he followed his rookie into the blue medical tent, and then bitched at the team doctor for looking at him in the first place. Dude, did you see how badly he did against the Bears in Yeoman's work? I'd be doing the same thing. We pray this game of Whack-A-Russ may be at its end. Well, we know in 9 months he's just gonna pop up somewhere else. My money's on the Titans. Nick Mullins. Jacksonville backup who's on his 4th team in forgettable fashion. He hasn't won a start since COVID year. Basic math that make a kindergartner cry. But Nick's done some yeoman's work, spelling the oft-injured Jimmy Jesus in San Francisco before they realized he was an interception man.
Mullins throws, it's picked off, and all the way to the end zone, touchdown, Alex Singleton.
Pulling off a start for the Browns when their team was wrecked by COVID. Then there was the Viking stint. Less said about that, the better. Now he's signed by Duval just in case Trevor Lawrence forgot how to throw a football. Mullins is an insurance policy at best, and at this point we'll only see playtime if the team bus detonates. But he lands on this list for one reason in particular: the box score. Nick Mullins might be near the top, but realistically entering the league as an undrafted free agent, you can't hold him to the same standard, especially compared to other players that linger in the league past their prime. Not when he's still here. Josh Johnson, the journeyman of all journeymen. NFL head coach 09 legend in the flesh. Drafted back in 2008, Josh Johnson's racked up those frequent flyer miles, stepping in the locker room for 14 NFL teams, some more than once. Not to mention stints in the UFL, the AAF, and the XFL over a 17-year pro career. A man so well-traveled that he's admitted the easiest way to learn his teammates' names was by playing as them in fucking Madden. He didn't throw a pass in the NFL from 2011 to 2018, yet he's a testament to perseverance. All while putting up abysmal numbers on the NFL stat sheet. A sub 60% completion rate and a career passer rating that would still be below average if he were playing in the late 1970s. Josh isn't a primary backup anymore. Statistically, he's more of a mentor than a true option. But as the average NFL career for players gets shorter year over year, we should all stop and appreciate the players that barely made it. Massaged enough clipboards to make a career out of it. Quarter hacks, yes, but maybe not in the way you think. Several million a year to learn a playbook and bask in the glory of being in the league?
Oh, you have nothing to say?
That sounds like a good life to me.
What's different from 2008 to now? Are you doing TikTok dances with them?
No, I ain't tic-tacking yet. No tic-tac for me.